With Tuesday being the NFL trade deadline, I have compiled a list longer than I thought I was going to make of potential trade targets the Dolphins could target if they felt like targeting something. Let's jump into this. What is up, Finn fans? Thursday video for you guys because, like I said, the trade deadline is Tuesday. I was going to say Monday, but it's Tuesday, 4 p.m. So from now until Tuesday, 4 p.m., teams are allowed to trade for players. After that, they got to wait till the offseason. Plain and simple. So Tuesday, 4 o'clock, they have to trade for them. I got some news and notes I want to talk about before we get into the trade stuff, but I have literally a page. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 players that I want to talk about. 13. Are the Dolphins going to trade for all 13? No. Do I think they're going to? No. Do I think that they'll trade for 2 people on my list of 13? No. But this is fun to do and kind of give you an idea of where I'm at mentally with where we need to, adjust certain areas and add to certain areas. Before we jump into all that good stuff, I do have some Dolphin news and notes to give you from yesterday. Being that this video is coming out at 9 o'clock, there'll probably be some more news coming out about that. So if you haven't yet, go follow me on Twitter. I will post all that stuff. And if anything, tomorrow in the preview video, I'll give you more news and information. But first and foremost, we have activated cornerback Nick Needham off the physically unable to perform list. Unfortunately, placed Isaiah Wynn on the injured reserve, and he's probably, from what I'm hearing, the injury doesn't look good. So he's out for minimum 4 weeks, obviously, but it might be longer than that. But the fact that Nick Needham comes back means we're getting Nick Needham back. We're getting Jalen Ramsey back. We're getting Xavier Howard back. We're getting all of these corners back to help the defense. Because if you saw against the Eagles, and I showed you guys in the film breakdown, we were very close to getting to the quarterback. Now, if we have these corners that can cover longer, or they can jam and they can do the thing, and they fit into the Fangio scheme that he's wanted, and if you notice this defense is starting to play a little tougher as the season goes on, I wonder who told you to give it some time. It's not going to be an instant success, and everyone was sitting back going, we're going to lose. Well, time is a thing. So that's great news. Now, I'm going to give you some news on the injury front. Now, Tyreek Hill didn't practice yesterday. He's dealing with something with his hip, and we all know that. And Tua came out and said somewhere down the line we're going to get Tyreek back. Now, everyone is taking that line. Somewhere down the line we're going to get Tyreek back. And taking it to a degree of, oh, he's done for weeks or he's done for this, and then they're trying to come with some preconceived notion or their own diagnosis without even hearing, talking, seeing anybody about what's wrong with Tyreek. Oh, well, it could be this type of injury, and which means he's going to be out for this amount of weeks, or it could be this kind of injury, which means he could be out for this amount. We don't know nothing. All we know is that he missed practice with a hip injury. If Tyreek Hill had it his way, he will play worst case scenario next week as a revenge game against the Chiefs. We don't know anything, so I'm not going to sit here and speculate on what Tua meant by somewhere down the line we're going to get Tyreek back. Could that be somewhere down the line as in Friday? Could that be somewhere down the line as in next week? I don't know. I'm not speculating. We'll see how this all goes. I will say this, and I don't make these things up that I'm about to say, because I have, and I'm so thankful, a lot of followers on here and a good amount of followers on Twitter. I hear you guys talking. Not all you guys, but there's a minority. And some of the things I'm hearing, and it's a whisper, it's very small, is that people want to see Tyreek out so they can see if Tua can do the things he's doing this season and last season without Tyreek. And to me, again, I normally don't say this, and I apologize if this offends anyone. That is stupid. I want Tyreek out there because I want to win. I don't give a crap about these narratives. I don't give a crap about what people have to say. I'm still, even after breaking down film of Tua escaping the pocket and have pressure coming on him and throwing it and doing everything that proves these narratives wrong, people are still talking about the fact that he has no arm, he crumbles in the pocket, he can't read the defense, he's a spot thrower, he's a system quarterback, and day-to-day. You could rub evidence in their face, and it could just be on their face like whipped cream, and they'd still be like, you're wrong. Just the fact that people don't want to see Tyreek Hill play to see if Tua can do it without it. And if he does, they're going to move the goalpost and say, well, that's because the system that he's put in is making him do. I'm done. Let's go beat the Patriots, right? Some other news and notes from yesterday's practice. Raheem Mostert wasn't there with an ankle. Robert Jones wasn't there, but a personal day. Javon Holland wasn't there, obviously in concussion protocol. And Alec Ingold wasn't there with a foot injury. Now, it's Wednesday. Today is obviously Thursday, but it was Wednesday. Friday is where we will find out. And like I said, I'm starting to do my Friday preview videos a little later in the day so I can get a full injury report and give you guys a full synopsis, where I normally do them the Thursday night before and give it to you early on Friday. But I don't know what happens Friday, so now I'm waiting till after 4 on Friday. So, 8 Dolphins were limited. Cornerback Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, Connor Williams, Nick Needham, River Craycraft, Jalen Waddle, Kader Kohu, and Cam Smith. The ones that I'm seeing in there that were limited is the fact that Jalen Ramsey's practicing on a limited basis, the fact that Nick Needham is practicing on a limited basis, obviously he's off the pup, but River Craycraft is practicing, which means they have 21 days to activate him to the active roster. And we all know how Tua loves his River Craycraft. And the fact that Connor Williams is practicing on a limited basis is very promising, but Jalen and River make me very happy. Craycraft remains on the IR, but practiced for the first time on Wednesday after missing 4 games. Dolphins have 21 days to activate him. Williams missed 3 of the past 4 games, and Holland and Howard missed the Philadelphia game. Waddle said his back is solid. I had some nagging pain during the game. Shout out to the trainers for leaving the pain. From what I'm hearing, he's fine, and he probably will play against the Patriots. I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow, but everyone that is like, Tyreek Hill might not play against the Patriots, Tua has beaten the Patriots with less. The defense and the offense have beaten the Patriots with less. Let's take a breath, and let's just take it day by day. But that's all the news and notes I wanted to give you when it came to what's going on. You know, they did ask about the Hard Knocks. Some guys like it. Some guys are indifferent. Some guys are iffy. You saw how Tua reacted to it because he's a very private person. But it is what it is at this point. Just stay focused on the end goal and practice your butts off and play your butts off. So now, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's get to the title. Now, I was going to do this whole thing where I was going to like pop their image up and like 13 players I'm going to talk about. So I do apologize for not putting the graphic up, but golly gee willikers, Beeve. I'm sorry. First off, I'm going to talk about 2 players that the Dolphins could potentially trade before the trade deadline or by the trade deadline, because that list is very, 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 very small. It's Emmanuel Ogbah, because he's kind of non-existent, especially with Chubb and Phillips and AVG doing their thing. Emmanuel Ogbah's kind of non-existent there. Now, again, post-June 1st this year, if they traded him, it's a $15 million savings. I don't know if that post-June 1st goes into the season, but I know next year if they trade him post-June 1st, it's like another 15 whatever million. It's a big cap savings to trade him. Will they trade him? I don't know. You know, it's a big chunk of change. He is a decent pass rusher. Could they find somebody for like a 6th or a 7th to take him? That's a possibility, but he is a name. And obviously the other one that we have heard and talked about and ad nauseum is Cedric Wilson Jr. He took a cut though. He took a pay cut that he's not under contract next year. So they could trade him for, again, a 6th or 7th or whatever. And relieve like what, $2 million in cap space. It's nothing at that point. It's peanuts. So now we're going to jump into some names that I would be interested in trading for, but I don't expect them to. And I'm also going to say this because I know I'm going to give you a bunch of names and people are going to be like, Doug, we don't have the cap space for that. I am not dealing nor touching or not responding. I respond to all you guys, but not going into the crevasse of cap space. That's Brandon Shore's thing. He can twist and move and put this money here and take it and tie it in a bow, and he could do things. I'm just talking about players that could help this team get better this season. Now I'm going to give the big juicy ones last. So I'm going to tell you guys, and I'm not going to clump them together. I made a list, so we're going to go off of that. Zach Ertz. Why not? Outside of Durham Smythe, you don't really hear much from the tight end position. And I think you bring him in for a 7th or 6th rounder, a late round pick. He wants to go. He doesn't have much more game left in his tank. He wants to play for a contender. And at this point, being 5-2, the Dolphins are a contender. Why not bring in Zach Ertz? That you can come to some type of compensation. Say to the Cardinals, we'll give you a 5th if you take on so much of his cap space. Again, I didn't say I was going to talk about this, but that's where those ideas can come from. And you add a player like Zach Ertz, who is that pass-catching tight end that you can use in the red zone and all that stuff, kind of like we used Gesicki last year. And no, the Dolphins won't, and I don't expect them to trade for Gesicki because I heard he might be on the trade block. But Zach Ertz is a possibility. He's the only tight end I have on here, so that's why I wanted to throw him out there. Why not? Let's get to offensive line, right? Because I'm hearing some things from the Broncos and the Titans. I think that's it. The Broncos and the Titans. 2 teams that I'm hearing offensive line stuff. Daniel Brunskill. If you don't know who he is, he's with the Tennessee Titans. He's a guard/center. You can probably get him for a 6th round pick. The Titans seem to be a seller by the trade deadline. And he played on the 49ers from 2019 to 2021 with Mike McDaniel. He knows how he could play all 3 of those interior positions: left guard, center, right guard. He has that versatility. If we can get him for a 6th, especially with we don't know what's happening with Connor Williams. We don't know what's happening at the left guard position. You can get a guy like Daniel Brunskill. You can plug him in where you need him. And again, a lot of these guys I'm going to talk about are on the last year of their contract. So then we dictate how we bring them on, bring them back next year. So that's a name. When it comes to the Broncos, again, the Broncos are selling everything. Garrett Bowles, the tackle. Very good tackle. He's gotten better as he's been playing more. It's going to cost him more, about a 1/3. But could he be the replacement for Teron Armstead? Could he be that future piece so the Dolphins don't have to draft somebody and hope they pan out? Garrett Bowles kind of already panned out. It's going to cost you, from what I'm seeing, a 1/3 and possibly next year, 2025, a 5th. The Dolphins don't have a 1/3, so they'd probably have to do some type of compensation there. But go for Garrett Bowles. Also, if the Broncos are really doing a yard sale, why not call them about Quinn Miners? I wanted the Dolphins to draft him that year. He's a guard. Maybe go get him. He was a 3rd rounder. Maybe give a 4th or a 5th for him and add some type of other things to it. But go get that. Obviously, you're seeing what I'm saying. We need help on the offensive line. We're super banged up at guard, left center, left guard, and left tackle. Speaking of that, Ezra Cleveland. The Minnesota Vikings added Dalton Risner. So Ezra Cleveland, the guard, is available. I mean, for the past 3 seasons, he's played left guard. Call them up. See what it would take to get him off their hands, being that, again, they signed Dalton Risner. He seems like an odd man out. So when it comes to the offensive line, Quinn Miners, Daniel Brunskill, Garrett Bowles, or Ezra Cleveland, I would love if we made a trade for any of those 4. And I feel like if I had to put money on a possibility, I feel like that is the biggest possibility, because we need the offensive line to play at a certain level for the run game and everything to work. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of what Chris Greer is leaning towards. like, all right, we need a guard, or okay, we don't know what's going on with Connor Williams. We need a backup center, or whatever. Go out to these teams like the Titans, the Broncos, the Vikings. The Vikings, again, they beat the 49ers, but they still could. They got Dalton Reisner, so that's why I'm saying that. Go to these teams that are kind of dwindling and see what you can get for them, right? So that's the offense. I think that's the only offensive players I have. Everything else is defensive, because to me, there's certain positions that the Dolphins need defensive help. So obviously, let's talk about that. Jewell, I think his name is Jewell. Jewell. Linebacker with Denver. Now, he played with Fangio. He's a great field general. Last year, he had 128 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, and he only played 13 games. Now, he doesn't have a contract next year, so again, it's another situation. But you bring him in, and there's that middle linebacker rotation. Because we already saw David Long Jr. get banged up at running into Javon Holland. Go out and potentially, that's not going to cost a lot. It's not going to cost you a lot. Again, 5th rounder, you send their way, possibly something else. But get yourself a linebacker. And again, this is another area of the team that I could see Greer going after. Devin White, linebacker out of Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's going to cost a little bit more than Josie. Is it Joel or Jewel? You'll let me know in the comment section. But Devin White, obviously there's Levante David as well. These two linebackers from Tampa Bay. Which one could the Dolphins potentially go for? I honestly think the compensation for trying to get one of those two is going to be higher than Josie. But to me, I'd probably go for Josie out of the 3, just because I like the way he plays, and he's already, used to the Fangio system. You also have Jordan Hicks out of Minnesota. Will he be more expensive? Possibly. Again, that's where I go back to Josie. So to me, again, that's a guy who I'm really kind of focusing on. I'll tell you who my 2 trades when it comes to the end of the video. Then we have some of the trades that don't make sense, but hey, why not throw them out there? These I don't expect to happen, but if they did happen, my socks would be across the street. That's how hard they'd be blown off. Now, Danielle Hunter is going to cost you a 2nd and a 4th, but he's good. I don't know. Let me double check when it comes to statistics if he is still the league leading sacker, but the man's good. Yeah, he's got 9 sacks on the season. He's good. Are the Dolphins going to do it? No. They have Bradley Chubb. They have Jalen Phillips. They have AVG, who's going to probably get a contract extension this offseason. They don't need him, but still, why not? And again, I'm saying, but still, why not? And then you got Chase Young out there, potential defensive end outside linebacker. That's going to cost you a 3rd and maybe a 6th in 2025. He's young. Bradley Chubb, you don't know what's going on with him. Is he going to still be here? Are the Dolphins going to try to move on from him because he's just not working out? Again, he wasn't traded for when Vic Fangio was here, so I don't know. But imagine Chase Young on one side and then Jalen Phillips, and you got AVG on this crazy rotation. Do I see it happening? No, but I'm gonna play with it. Then also, I think we need some help on the interior. I think we need some help stopping the run on the interior. We saw what happened, with the Chargers, and we got better, but there's not much push up the middle. Now, Fangio came out and said that Wilkins, it's because he had that sit-in, so he kind of a little rusty. Leonard Williams, what is it going to... He's got a contract that you're going to have to deal with. Again, I'm not talking about it. But what would it cost to kind of pull Leonard Williams away from the Giants? What would it cost to have him team up and be in that rotation in the middle there? That's an interesting name to me, right? And then I'm going to talk about a guy that I don't see it happening. It's going to cost a lot. But if they did this, it would be huge. Absolutely huge. And that's PS2. And if you don't know who PS2 is, that's Patrick Surtain II, PS2. Quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Now, Denver said they're listening to for anyone, right? But obviously, they're not going to be listening. It's going to take a lot to get Patrick Surtain away from the Denver Broncos. And from what I'm hearing, it's 2 firsts and a third to get him away from the Denver Broncos. Now, he has 1 year left on his contract. Next year, he's getting $6.7 million. If the Dolphins move on from Xavier Howard next year, post June 1st cut is $14.5 million. A post June 1st trade is $18.5 million. Now, again, I don't expect this to happen. So don't comment and be like, Doug, you're delusional. I told you, and I'm going to tell you who I think or what I would do. But just imagine. Put on your imagine caps. Just imagine we trade for PS2. We rock out this season with them. And then next year we trade Xavier Howard, or we, post June 1st designation cut. So $14.5 million. And it's PS2, Jalen Ramsey, Cam Smith. And then when Jalen Ramsey moves on, it's PS2 and Cam Smith as our starting corners. Tell me that doesn't sound pretty good. Tell me that doesn't. And then you got Kader Kohu in the slot. Like, that's a pretty good secondary. Will it happen? No. I don't. If it happens, like, I'm going to make a video. It'll probably get like 30,000 views. It's going to be the craziest thing ever. I might try to do a backflip in here. I might break my neck. But I don't see that happening. But what I do see happening, or what I would like to see happen, is the Dolphins trade for Daniel Brunskill, the guard/center from the Tennessee Titans. He's sent a 6th. And you get, he's played with Mike McDaniel for 3 years, and he could play that whole interior. He's a very good, versatile guy, because Kendall Lamb's been doing really well at left tackle. And go for Josie Jewell, linebacker out of Denver. Played with Fangio, field general. His stats are really good. If I'm making moves, I'm doing that. Going for that interior offensive lineman, I'm going for that linebacker. If they do get Jordan Hicks, Levante David, or Devin White, that'd be crazy. It costs a lot more. Or if they go for like Quinton Miners, or if they go for Ezra Cleveland, or if they go for Garrett Bowles, I'm okay with that. But 2 trades I'd like to happen: interior offensive lineman, linebacker. But that's what I got for you guys. Comment below. Let me know. Obviously, I threw names at you that are probably very far-fetched that the Dolphins are going to trade for, or anyone's going to trade for. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Say Tuesday, 4 p.m. comes rolling around. I don't expect the Dolphins to make any trades. Now, last year they traded for Bradley Chubb. We all saw how that panned out. He's not worth the contract we're giving him. But overall, I don't expect any trades to happen. We all get all hyped up for the trade deadline. Oh, all these trades are going to happen. And then a lot of times, not a lot of trades happen. So take it with a grain of salt. But comment below. If I missed any names that you would be interested in, comment below. Let me know. I'll see you guys tomorrow with preview of the Dolphins taking on the Patriots in Miami with the throwback jerseys. Very excited for that. But other than that, like usual, stay classy. Offense up.